Neal Morse talks about some of the top songs on his brand new album, Jesus Christ, the Exorcist. I'm John Bowden from Rock History Book. We like doing these behind the scenes, track by track conversations, but this is a double album. We're just going to pick some of the tracks that I asked him about from Jesus Christ, the Exorcist. And we start at the beginning.
You know, at the time that I started writing it, I had a little downtime between albums. It was around 2008. And, I just started, I try not to, try to think about the whole picture. You just take one step and then another step. I took a step and, it's a joy to me. Composing and writing songs that's really what I love to do the most of the entire process and everything that I do in the music business. That's my favorite part. So, no, it was great. It's great fun when I have time. My great joy in life is when I have time to write.
When I was programming radio, sometimes I would tell my music directors, okay, I know you got to find the hooks. I know you're looking for the hits. I know you're looking at charts. But when you're picking a song for our radio stations, make sure it makes you feel something. It makes you feel good because the audience will feel that as well. And on Jesus Christ the Exorcist, I felt it. And I'm not even a Christian.
Well, that's what you hope for. I think anytime you're writing anything, you want people to really feel it the way that you're feeling it. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, music is the language of emotion. And so I'm really glad to hear that, man. Thank you.
We're both children of 1960, and Jesus Christ Superstar came out when we were 13. Do you consciously remember that? Was that in your radar at that time?
Oh, I remember when it came out, and I can't remember who told our family about it first. But it made a big splash in those days, and the album was everywhere, and I lived it. I and all my friends, family members, we all, everybody under the age of 25, I think, memorized that entire show. Everybody I knew.
Did you feel a sense of responsibility going into this project?
Well, I mean, I think I don't know if it was any more than usual. I mean, I wanted to be careful to be accurate. I was trying not to take too many liberties, interpretation or story-wise, but not really, because when I'm writing something, I don't know what's going to happen with it. I didn't know that 10 years later we would be putting it out on Frontiers Records. I didn't know that. I was writing it really more with a Broadway show in mind. That was my thinking at the time. Now, when I rewrote it for us to perform at this concert festival I have here near my house called Morse Fest every year, when I rewrote it for that, I rewrote it a little bit more with kind of concert / play in mind. So it changed the vibe a bit. I added more up numbers and things on it during the rewrite. So, no, I don't really feel pressure about it. I just pray that somehow a miracle will happen and we'll get it right and it'll really touch people's hearts.
One of my favorite tracks of Jesus Christ the Exorcist is a song called The Getaway.
Well, I had this idea. I like a lot of times in films when they start at the end and flash back and then tell you the whole story. Mm-hmm. So I had the idea to start with Jesus on the cross. I'm sure I'm not the first person to do that. I mean, maybe Passion of the Christ did that. I can't remember now. But I thought it was a cool idea to start with him on the cross and then flash back to the beginning of his ministry. And so Getaway is actually, I wanted to just illustrate the condition of Israel of the first century before Jesus comes. Okay, they're under Roman occupation, then they're waiting for the Messiah to come and deliver them. And so that's really the thought behind that whole song. And so the two singers that are singing the verses, in my mind, they would be the first line is, "We sweat out in the sun," so it would be these slaves really out, in the fields working really hard, or guys in a rock quarry. We sweat out in the sun in Jerusalem to pay Caesar Augustus. So, I'm really just setting the stage for Jesus to show up.
On Jesus Christ the Exorcist, Neal Morse plays Pontius Pilate on the project. A very controversial figure, of course. In the history of Jesus, I asked Neal Morse if it was always planned that way, that he would play Pilate.
No, it was not. The only reason why I sang that role is for Morse Fest. My wife was rather insistent that I sing a role, but I wrote all this stuff way out of my range. You know, I was thinking like Broadway show, Jesus Christ Superstar. All the male parts are like really high, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote it like that, which is really freeing and fun for me to have no boundaries on the range. You know, I wrote stuff with sustained B naturals and C sharps and all this crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only reason why I sang the role of Pilate is because it was the only one I could come anywhere near hitting the notes.
The next track is Jesus Temptation, one of my favorites on the album. It's a big tune, and there are a lot of those on this album, which made me think about the hills and valleys in such a vast project. Remember, this is a 2 CD project. So I asked him, was it conscious to have those hills and valleys in this rock opera?
Well, no, it's instinctive, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're following the story and you're thinking, okay, like, so after part 1, okay, I think the next thing I'd like to write about is Jesus' temptation, because the first thing that happens in the Bible after he's baptized is the Spirit leads him into the wilderness. So, so I set that up with some prog music. You know, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, maybe they need some music while they change the scenery or something. And then Jesus starts off with the Spirit, led me here straight away to this wilderness. You know, and then getting in his mind a little bit about what's happening, and then the devil coming and tempting him in his mind, and then it made sense to have a hard rock song and a duet between Jesus and the devil in a like rockin' song, and you know, so yeah, I think it came out great too. I love it.
Another one of my favorites was There's a Highway. I asked Neal Morse, was it me or did it sound like a 70s song?
Well, a lot of my stuff has a 70s feel to it because that's, you know, kind of...
Yeah, you come upon it honestly.
I guess that would be some of my primary formative years in music, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was just, you know, tinkering around, just playing around, and, you know, this stuff that, to me, it sounds kind of like The Who or something. I was going, kind of going for a Who vibe on that one.
The Woman of Seven Devils. That is a sultry-sounding song. That's a naughty song to me. I love the feel of that song.
Yeah. I toned down some of the words. The original lyric was a little more suggestive, shall we say, because Mary was a prostitute. It says in the scriptures. So, you know, I was portraying it that way, but I decided to tone it down for a variety of reasons. You know, I guess maybe because I have had little kids, and now I have like little grandkids, and I don't want to have to answer tough questions. I think it's clear enough. You know, her being filled with demons is bad enough.
Love Has Called My Name, to me, is one of the most beautiful songs. To me, that sounds like a hit.
Oh, well, great. I hope it is. That was part of the rewrite that I did last July. And I was just, you know, listening to the original draft, and I would come up to a place and think, maybe we could take this thought. You know, every song or every musical element has like a scene that it's illustrating. So there was this song that I listened to and went, that's kind of cheesy, where basically it would be sort of this landscape of Israel, and all people are reacting to Jesus, and disciples are beginning to follow him, basically, is what that is. So I thought, well, you know, I'll write more of like an up-tempo song. And as I worked on it, I thought, oh, maybe this would be great for Nick and I to sing, because it reminded me a little bit of, you know, the last song on Snow. You know, honey, my memory's escaping me, the last song on Snow.
So the way you go?
No, you know, the one that we always sing.
Wind at My Back?
Wind at My Back. Yeah. It reminded me a little bit of Wind at My Back. I just had a brain freeze. So I thought, yeah, that would be cool. So I got Nick on it, and that makes sense because my portrayal of Judas is a little bit different than usual. I portray him as actually a sincere disciple that's trying to force Jesus' hand, you know, that's thinking that surely he's not going to just let the Romans kill him. And so it fit with my whole take on Judas. So I had Nick sing with me, and yeah, and then the reprise at the end works really well.
The last track on the album is a track we just talked about. Love Is Called My Name. I was kind of curious because I consider it probably the best track on the whole album. Did he just want more from it? Did he just want to also end with this monumental tune?
Well, no, I didn't actually originally. That was actually a suggestion from a friend of mine. I just done like a real rough MP3 of Love Is Called My Name. And this guy who lives on the other side of the planet said, "Hey man, that'd be really cool. Are you going to do a reprise of that at the end?" And I thought, yeah, I think I will.
The new rock opera is called Jesus Christ the Exorcist, and as I mentioned in this clip, I think it's probably going to be made into a movie. It's so well done. The music is amazing. A lot of prog fans love it. Go to nealmorse.com. Also, there's a 7-part interview series that we're planning on our sister channel, which is Rock History Music. Make sure you check it out. There'll be links in the description of this video. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. We love it when you share our videos on Facebook. Thank you. I'm John Bowden from Rock History Music.